In a galaxy far from Earth, there were many different kinds of aliens. Some were huge, some were small, and some were incredibly powerful. They traveled between stars, conquered planets, and ruled their worlds. These aliens were proud of their strength and technology. To them, the rest of the universe seemed weak, and they saw no one who could challenge their power. Humans, a species from a tiny, distant planet called Earth, were seen as nothing more than a joke. For years, the aliens had heard stories of humans, weak, small creatures who lived on a planet full of water and dirt. They did not have the advanced technology the aliens had. Humans were still learning to fly in space, and their weapons were primitive compared to the mighty weapons the aliens used. They had no fleets, no huge warships, and no armies that could stand up to the aliens. To the aliens, humans were nothing. One day, the aliens received a strange report. A single human ship had entered the outer edges of their galaxy. The ship was small, old, and seemed to be moving slowly through space. At first, the aliens didn't believe it. "This can't be true," they said. "A human ship in our space. It's nothing more than a tiny speck in the vastness of the galaxy." They laughed at the idea. Who could be scared of one small human ship? Their fleets were much larger, their ships faster and more powerful. They were sure that the human ship would be an easy target. In fact, they believed it would be so easy, they didn't even prepare for battle. They thought they could destroy it in minutes. A council of alien commanders gathered in their great command ship, high above the battlefield. They had seen countless battles and had always won, no matter the enemy. They were the rulers of the galaxy, and humans were just a small, insignificant species. "Look at this," one alien commander said, pointing to a holographic image of the human ship. "This is all they have. This will be a quick and easy mission." The others agreed, laughing at the sight of the tiny human ship on the screen. "We will crush it easily. A human ship cannot stand against our power." They were confident. They knew their advanced weapons, and fleets would make quick work of the human ship. As the alien ships moved toward the human ship, their laughter filled the control room. "This is going to be a good show," one alien said, smirking. "I can't wait to see how quickly we destroy them." The human ship moved closer to the alien forces, but there was no sign of fear on board. The humans knew their ship was not as big or powerful as the alien ships, but they also knew something the aliens did not. Humans had something that the aliens had forgotten. They had heart. They had determination. They would not give up so easily. The aliens continued to laugh and mock the human ship. They saw it as nothing more than an easy target, a ship that would fall apart the moment they attacked. But what the aliens didn't know was that this human ship was no ordinary ship. It was old, yes, but it had been built with cleverness, resourcefulness, and the kind of technology that no one expected. But the aliens didn't see this. They were too busy laughing. They thought they had already won. They were used to victories that came easily. The idea of a human ship doing anything other than being destroyed was impossible to them. With every passing second, the alien commanders made fun of the human ship. "What are they going to do? Throw rocks at us," one alien joked. "Maybe they'll send a fleet of tiny little ships to fight us. How cute." As they neared the human ship, they began to prepare their weapons, confident that the battle would be short. "We'll teach them a lesson," one alien said, pressing a button to signal the attack. The first wave of missiles launched from the alien ships, streaking toward the human vessel. The aliens smiled, thinking they had already won. But little did they know, this was only the beginning of a battle that would change everything. The alien ships moved through the cold emptiness of space, their massive forms glowing with power. They were strong, fast, and ready for battle. They thought they had seen it all. No enemy had ever stood a chance against them. But as they drew closer to the small human ship, something felt different. The ship was still tiny, almost invisible compared to the vast alien fleet. It looked old, worn down, like a ship that had been forgotten by time. Its outer hull was scratched and dented, as if it had seen many years of service. The aliens had seen many kinds of ships before, but none looked quite like this. As the alien fleet advanced, the commanders watched the human ship on their screens. "It's so small," one of them said, laughing again. "Is this supposed to be a challenge?" The commanders couldn't believe their eyes. A human ship in their territory, alone and unafraid. They thought it was a mistake. The humans couldn't possibly think they could win. The human ship, however, was not afraid. It moved through space steadily, without rushing, without panicking. Its crew was calm and focused. The ship was not as advanced as the alien warships, but it was well built and well maintained. Inside, the humans knew they had to rely on their brains, not just their firepower. The crew had trained for years, prepared for a moment like this. They knew that every move counted. Outside, the alien fleet continued to approach. The human ship's sensors were active, watching every alien movement closely. The ship's captain, a young but experienced officer, looked over the ship's status reports. The crew had checked the weapon systems. The ship was ready, but they all knew the odds were against them. One of the alien commanders, a tall being with shimmering green skin, stared at the small human ship through his ship's windows. "Let's finish this quickly," he said, his voice cold. "We don't have time for games." He pressed a button on his console, sending a signal to the rest of the fleet. The alien ships opened fire. Laser beams shot through space, faster than the eye could see. The aliens' weapons were powerful, enough to destroy most ships with a single hit. But the human ship didn't panic. The captain gave a quiet command, and the ship's engines roared to life. The ship moved with incredible speed, twisting and turning in ways the alien ships couldn't predict. The aliens were stunned. "What is this?" one of them shouted. The human ship was dodging their attacks with surprising skill. They had expected it to be slow and clumsy, an easy target. But the ship seemed to dance through space, avoiding every missile and laser with precision. Inside the human ship, the crew worked together like a well-oiled machine. Every person knew their role. The pilots kept the ship moving, changing its course at the right moment. The gunners fired back, shooting down the alien missiles before they could reach their target. The communications officers sent quick, precise messages, relaying important information to the captain. It was clear they had trained for this moment. "Impressive," said the captain of the human ship, watching the enemy fleet through his screen. "But they still don't know what's coming." The captain had seen battles before, but this was different. This was not a fight between armies. It was a test of survival. The human ship had no chance of winning in a direct fight, but it didn't need to. The goal was not to destroy the alien fleet, but to survive long enough to send a message that humans were not weak, a message that they would not be taken lightly. The alien fleet continued to attack, launching wave after wave of powerful missiles. But the human ship kept moving, dodging, and weaving. It wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of everything the aliens had underestimated about humanity. "Keep it up," shouted the human captain. "We're showing them they've made a mistake. Double it up." The alien commanders grew frustrated. Their ships were fast, their weapons were strong, but they couldn't seem to land a single hit. Their laughter from before had died down, replaced by confusion and anger. The human ship was not just surviving. It was making them work for every shot. They had expected an easy victory, but instead, they were facing a challenge they had never imagined. The small human ship, though outmatched, was making the aliens doubt everything they thought they knew. The battle wasn't over yet, but one thing was clear. The aliens had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were beginning to see that the battle would not be as easy as they had once thought. The alien fleet had expected an easy victory, but as they fired their weapons at the small human ship, something was wrong. The alien commanders sat in their control rooms, watching in disbelief as the human ship continued to dodge every attack. It was like it could predict their moves before they made them. The missiles that should have destroyed the human ship in seconds just passed by harmlessly, or worse, exploded midair when the human ship shot them down. "What's going on?" the green-skinned alien commander asked, tapping his fingers angrily on the console. "Why aren't we hitting them?" He had seen many battles in his time, and never had he seen anything like this. The human ship should have been easy to destroy. It was too small, too old, and clearly outmatched by the alien fleet. Yet it seemed to move like a ghost through space, quick and unpredictable. The fleet's advanced sensors and powerful weapons should have wiped it out already. Another commander, a sharp-eyed alien with gray skin, stared at the screen. "Their ship is too fast," he said, his voice filled with frustration. "Our weapons can't keep up with their movements." The fleet continued firing, but the results were always the same. The human ship moved in ways that made no sense. It wasn't just quick. It was almost like it was reading their every move. The more the aliens attacked, the more they were convinced that something was wrong. The ship wasn't just surviving. It was avoiding their fire with uncanny precision. And it wasn't just moving to dodge the lasers. It seemed to anticipate where the next attack would come from, adjusting its path before the aliens could even aim. Inside the human ship, the crew had noticed it too. The captain, a young but experienced officer, was focused on the battle outside. He watched the alien ships in their sleek, powerful formations, and he saw how they were trying to predict his next move. He could feel the weight of their firepower, and he knew they had no chance of matching it. But he also knew something they didn't. The alien fleet was used to being in control. They had never faced an opponent who could think like humans. The human crew had trained for situations like this, preparing for a fight that seemed impossible to win. The captain had seen the look of surprise on the faces of the alien commanders, and he knew this was their weakness. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were starting to realize it. "Keep moving. Keep dodging," the captain ordered. "We can't let them lock onto us." The pilot skillfully changed the course of the ship again, sending it into a sharp turn. The human ship weaved and twisted, narrowly missing the incoming missiles. Every move was calculated, precise. The crew communicated silently, each member performing their task without hesitation. But then, as the human ship avoided another blast, the captain noticed something strange. The aliens had stopped firing so predictably. They were changing their patterns, trying new strategies. They were no longer laughing. They were no longer sure of their victory. "This isn't right," the captain muttered, his eyes scanning the fleet. The alien ships were moving in tighter formations now. They were trying to predict his next move, just as the human ship had done to them. But there was something else, something even more dangerous. The aliens were preparing for a new kind of attack. "They're adapting," the captain said, a hint of surprise in his voice. "They're figuring us out." Inside the command room of the alien fleet, the green-skinned commander paced nervously. He had seen his fleet fall into chaos before, but never because of a single human ship. "Adjust fire. We're too close together. Spread out and form a new strategy," he shouted to the other commanders. "We can't let them keep dodging us. We'll outsmart them, I promise." The alien fleet shifted into a new formation. Instead of charging in as a group, they spread out, hoping to confuse the human ship. It was a smart move, one they used against enemies who were too fast to hit with their usual methods. The new strategy would limit the human ship's options, forcing it into a corner where they could finally land a hit. But as the aliens spread out, the human captain noticed the change. "They're getting smarter," he said quietly. "But we've still got the advantage. Keep moving. Don't let them surround us." The ship continued to twist and turn, but now it was harder to keep up with the sudden changes in the alien fleet's movements. The captain's eyes scanned the sensors, looking for the best way out. The crew was working at full speed, but they could feel the pressure mounting. Every second counted. Then, just as the captain was about to issue another command, something even stranger happened. The alien ships, still in their new formation, suddenly slowed down. It was as if they were waiting for something. The human ship, now in a more open area of space, had a clearer path ahead of it. The aliens were giving them a moment of freedom. Something was definitely wrong. The human captain couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to find out just how far the aliens were willing to go to win. The alien fleet had adjusted their strategy, thinking they had finally figured out how to trap the human ship. The human ship moved swiftly through space, dodging their fire with impossible precision. But now the aliens had spread out, trying to surround the small ship. They knew they had to trap it or risk losing the battle. Inside the human ship, the captain and crew worked quickly, preparing for the worst. The pressure was mounting, and they couldn't afford to make any mistakes. They had already done the impossible. They had survived this long against a fleet far stronger than their own. But they knew this wasn't over yet. The aliens were still relentless. They were changing their strategy, and they were getting smarter. The captain realized the time had come to show the aliens something they hadn't expected. It was time to reveal what the human ship was really capable of. "Captain," the tactical officer said, her voice calm but filled with urgency. "We've been avoiding their attacks, but we need to strike back. We can't keep running forever. We got one chance to turn this around." The captain nodded. He knew what she meant. The human ship had a secret, something the aliens hadn't seen yet. It wasn't in their weapons, or their speed, or even their ability to dodge the aliens' fire. The hidden power was something else. The human ship was more than just a collection of metal and engines. It was a symbol of everything humanity had ever been: resourceful, clever, and determined. The captain turned to his crew. "Prepare the hidden systems," he ordered. "We've been holding back this entire time. Let's show them who they're really dealing with." The crew went into action. The ship's systems hummed as they powered up. The energy coursed through the ship, the quiet hum of the engines now replaced by a deep, low rumble. The alien fleet, still in their new formation, couldn't see what was happening inside the human ship. They didn't know that the small, old-looking vessel held a hidden power, one that could turn the tide of this battle. For the aliens, everything had seemed so simple. The human ship had been small, old, and weak. They thought they were just toying with it, avoiding its occasional shots while preparing for the inevitable destruction. But the humans had been playing a game of their own. The captain had been waiting for the right moment to reveal their secret weapon. Now, that moment had arrived. With a sudden burst of energy, the human ship shot forward, faster than it had moved before. The alien ships, already in their spread-out formation, couldn't react quickly enough. The human ship zipped through their defenses, closing the gap in an instant. "What is that?" one of the alien commanders shouted, watching in shock as the human ship moved with unimaginable speed. The ship seemed to have gained a sudden burst of power, like it was fueled by something beyond the ordinary. The aliens scrambled to adjust, but it was too late. The human ship had already entered the heart of the alien fleet. "Activate the hidden weapons," the captain commanded, his voice steady. The weapons that had been hidden inside the ship powered up, glowing brightly as they locked onto their targets. The human ship wasn't just dodging anymore, it was fighting back. The first blast hit the closest alien ship, sending it spiraling out of control. The explosion was massive, far larger than anything the alien commanders had expected. The humans had clearly been holding back this entire time, waiting for the right moment to strike. And now, that moment had come. What just happened?" the green-skinned commander stammered, watching in horror as another alien ship was destroyed by a second, more powerful blast. The alien fleet had never faced anything like this before. They were used to being the ones who controlled the battlefield. They had always relied on their size, their strength, and their advanced technology. But now, they were facing something they hadn't prepared for: human ingenuity. The human ship continued to fire, moving swiftly through the alien fleet. With each shot, another alien ship was destroyed. The aliens couldn't keep up. They tried to regroup, but the human ship was everywhere, attacking from every direction. The crew inside the ship worked together like a single, well-oiled machine, each person playing their part to perfection. The captain guided them with calm precision, and they responded with skill and determination. The alien commanders were in a panic. "We need reinforcements," one shouted. "Send in the reserve ships." But it was too late. The hidden power inside the human ship had been unleashed, and the tide of the battle was changing. For the first time, the aliens realized they were no longer in control. The human ship, once seen as a weak, pathetic target, had become a deadly force. The aliens had underestimated humanity, thinking they could crush them easily. But now, they were beginning to understand just how wrong they had been. The human ship's hidden power wasn't just in its weapons or its speed. It was in the spirit of the people who manned it. The humans fought not just for survival, but for something more. They'd fought for their future. And in that moment, the aliens could see it clearly. The humans weren't going down without a fight. They weren't just battling for their lives. They were battling to win. And win, they would. The battle was quickly spiraling out of control. The once confident alien fleet, which had laughed at the small human ship, now found themselves scrambling to survive. Alien ships were exploding in the blink of an eye, caught by the unexpected power of the human vessel. The humans had revealed their hidden strength, and now it was the aliens who were on the defensive. The alien commanders watched in disbelief as their fleet was torn apart. The human ship, once thought to be weak, now seemed unstoppable. Its weapons were far more powerful than the aliens had imagined, and its movements were impossible to predict. Every time they tried to regroup or change their strategy, the human ship seemed to be one step ahead, always finding a way to break through their defenses. "What's happening?" The green-skinned commander shouted, his voice filled with panic. His once calm demeanor had shattered. "Why can't we stop them?" His fingers trembled as he slapped his hand against the control panel, desperate for answers. The alien officers around him were equally shocked. Their most advanced weapons, their fastest ships, and their best pilots were no match for the speed and precision of the human ship. The aliens had never faced an enemy like this. In all their years of conquest, they had never been up against a force that could strike back so fiercely. "We need to retreat," another commander yelled, fear creeping into his voice. "We can't hold our position any longer. The humans are too strong." But it was too late for retreat. The human ship was already deep inside their formation, hitting their ships one after another. The aliens tried to call for reinforcements, but their communication systems were being jammed. It was as if the human ship knew exactly how to disable their defenses. The once unbeatable fleet was falling apart, and the aliens had no idea how to stop it. Inside the human ship, the captain and his crew were fully aware of the chaos they had caused. The battle had shifted in their favor, but they knew it wasn't over yet. The alien fleet might be panicking, but there was still a chance they could regroup and fight back. The captain remained focused, knowing they couldn't afford to lose their advantage. "Keep pushing forward," the captain ordered. "We have them on the ropes. Don't let up." The crew responded with determination. The weapons fired in quick succession, taking down one alien ship after another. The aliens were losing their ability to organize, their movements becoming erratic. The human ship weaved through the enemy ranks, picking off targets with deadly accuracy. But as the humans pressed on, the aliens began to fall into complete disarray. Their once pristine formations had shattered. Ships that had once moved together in perfect harmony were now scattered, trying to avoid the relentless attacks of the human ship. The panic among the aliens was palpable. They had been overconfident, thinking that the small human ship was no threat. Now, they were realizing just how wrong they were. "We can't keep fighting like this," the green-skinned commander shouted again. His face was a mask of fear and frustration. "Our fleet is falling apart. We need to find a way to stop them." He turned to his officers, his eyes wide with panic. Do we have any other weapons? Anything that can turn this around? One of the officers, a tall alien with sharp features, hesitated. He was clearly frightened, but he knew the commander was desperate. There is one option, he said slowly, but it's a last resort. We could activate the self-destruct system on our ships. If we can't win, we can at least make sure the humans don't either. The commander's eyes widened, but he nodded. Do it. Set the self-destruct. We'll destroy everything before they can completely defeat us. The aliens began to activate the self-destruct systems on their ships. It was a risky move, but they were out of options. They would rather sacrifice their entire fleet than face the humiliation of being destroyed by a single human ship. But as the countdowns began, something strange happened. The human ship, still darting between the alien ships, suddenly slowed. The captain's eyes narrowed as he realized what was happening. Everyone, get ready. The captain called out. They're trying to take us down with them. They're going to self-destruct. The crew worked quickly, trying to break free from the alien ships before the explosions began. But it wasn't easy. The alien ships had already scattered, and now they were all heading in different directions, each one about to explode in a massive burst of energy. The captain had to think fast. We need to get out of here. Full power to the engines, he ordered. If we can't stop them, we'll outrun the blasts. The human ship accelerated, trying to escape the wave of destruction that was about to hit. But as the countdowns on the alien ships reached zero, the shockwaves from the explosions tore through the battlefield. The human ship barely avoided the blasts, but some of the shockwaves were too powerful to escape. The ship rocked violently as debris from the exploding alien fleet rained down around them. The captain gritted his teeth, holding the wheel steady. Hold on, he shouted. We're not out of this yet. The alien fleet had tried to destroy everything, but the human ship had survived. As the last of the explosions faded, the human crew took a moment to breathe. They had faced the impossible, and they had come out victorious. But they knew this was only the beginning. The battle for survival was far from over. The alien fleet was in ruins. What had once been a powerful, confident force was now scattered and broken. The explosions from their own ships still echoed through space, but the human ship had survived, and it was still moving. The battle was far from over, but the aliens knew they were losing. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. The green-skinned commander, once so sure of his victory, watched as his fleet crumbled. His face was pale, his hands shaking. We can't lose like this, he muttered to himself, eyes fixed on the remaining human ship. We can't let them win. He turned to his officers, who were just as defeated. Prepare the last ship, he ordered, his voice barely a whisper. We have one more chance. It's our only hope. The officers nodded silently, knowing what that meant. The last ship was the most powerful in their fleet, a massive warship with weapons that could destroy entire planets. It was a ship of last resort, and the green-skinned commander had always hoped he would never have to use it. But now, with everything else failing, it was their only option. Inside the human ship, the captain and his crew were still on high alert. They had survived the alien fleet's last-ditch attempt to destroy them. But the captain knew the fight wasn't over yet. He could feel it in the air. The aliens were still out there, and they weren't giving up. Captain, we're receiving a strange signal, the communications officer said, her voice tight with concern. It's coming from an alien ship. It's big, much bigger than anything we've faced so far. The captain's heart skipped a beat. What kind of ship is it? He asked. The officer hesitated before answering. It's their final ship. The one they've been hiding. The one with enough power to wipe us out in one shot. The captain turned to his crew, his face hardening. We've come this far, he said. We're not turning back now. Prepare for the final fight. The human ship moved forward, slowly at first, then picking up speed as they closed in on the massive alien warship. The alien ship loomed ahead, larger than anything the humans had seen. It was a terrifying sight, its hull gleaming with weapons that seemed to pulse with dangerous energy. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Everyone, stay sharp. This is it. We fight to the end." The crew nodded, their faces set with determination. They had already proven themselves. Now they had to finish what they had started. The alien ship fired first. A huge blast of energy shot from its guns, hitting the human ship dead on. The force of the blast shook the human ship, sending sparks flying through the control room. The crew struggled to hold on as the ship rocked violently. For a moment, it seemed like everything might come to an end. But the human ship didn't fall. It held steady, its engines roaring as it powered through the blast. The captain gritted his teeth, unwilling to give up. "Return fire," he shouted. The human ship fired back, sending powerful beams of energy toward the alien ship. The shots hit their target, tearing through the alien warship's shields and leaving deep scars in its hull. The alien ship fired again, but the human ship was faster this time, dodging the blast and returning fire with even more precision. The alien ship, huge and powerful, seemed unstoppable. But the human ship had something the aliens didn't: speed, agility, and the will to survive. Every shot the human ship fired seemed to land with deadly accuracy. The alien ship's shields flickered, and its weapons began to malfunction. It wasn't enough to stop the human ship, but it was enough to give the captain hope. "We can do this," the captain shouted, his voice filled with fire. "Keep firing. Don't let up." The human ship weaved through the enemy's fire, always staying one step ahead. The battle raged on, with the two ships exchanging blasts of energy, each trying to outmaneuver the other. But the alien ship, no matter how powerful, couldn't match the humans' resilience. Slowly but surely, the alien warship was losing ground. The captain's eyes never left the screen in front of him, watching as their shots continued to tear into the alien ship's defenses. He could feel it. The victory was within reach. The human ship had endured, and now it was time to finish the fight. One last blast from the human ship hit the alien warship's core. The ship's shields cracked, and the heart of the ship exploded in a brilliant burst of light. The massive alien ship groaned and shuddered before finally breaking apart, its once proud hull now a mass of wreckage floating in space. For a moment, the crew was silent. They had done it. They had destroyed the last of the alien fleet. The battle was over, and the humans had won. But the captain knew better than to celebrate too soon. He glanced around at his crew, their faces tired but triumphant. "We made it," he said softly. "But we have to stay alert. There's no telling what comes next." As the remains of the alien fleet drifted through space, the human ship slowly turned, its engines still humming. The captain looked out into the vastness of space, knowing that their fight for survival might not be over yet. But for now, they had won, and that was enough. The battle was over. The once mighty alien fleet was no more. Their ships drifted through space, broken and silent, like fallen giants. The human ship, battered but alive, hovered in the middle of the battlefield, the only sign of life in the vast emptiness. Inside the ship, the crew was still in shock. They had won. The aliens had underestimated them at every turn, and now the humans had come out on top. The victory was hard-earned, but it was theirs. Captain Harris stood in front of the main view screen, looking out at the remains of the alien fleet. His heart pounded in his chest as the weight of what they had accomplished began to sink in. They had faced an enemy so much more powerful than themselves, and they had won. The green-skinned commander and his fleet were gone, their last-ditch efforts to destroy the humans in vain. "Is it really over?" the communications officer asked, her voice a mix of exhaustion and disbelief. Captain Harris turned to her, his expression serious. "It's over for them," he said, "but we have to be ready. They may have lost this battle, but the war isn't always over with one fight." But even as he spoke those words, he couldn't ignore the sense of relief that washed over him. They had won, and the enemy had been crushed. The aliens who had thought they could easily defeat the humans had learned a harsh lesson. They had underestimated the strength, will, and power of humanity. And now, they would pay the price. The first officer, Lieutenant Adams, approached the captain. "The alien fleet is in pieces. We've disabled most of their communication systems, and the remaining ships are in no condition to fight. They're defeated." The captain nodded, but his gaze never left the screen. He was still waiting for something. What exactly, he wasn't sure. A signal, perhaps. A message of surrender. Or maybe, just maybe, a sign that the war was truly over. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared, breaking the silence. The entire crew tensed, their eyes darting to the control panels. Something was happening. "Captain," the navigator shouted, "we've got an incoming transmission. It's coming from one of the alien ships. It's weak, but it's still there." Captain Harris didn't hesitate. "Put it through," he ordered. The screen flickered before a face appeared. It was the green-skinned commander. His face was bruised, his expression filled with defeat. His eyes were bloodshot, his voice weak, but there was something in his gaze that caught the captain's attention. "Human," the commander said slowly, "you have won. We are finished. You have destroyed everything. Our fleet is gone, our power shattered. You have proven your strength, and we accept our defeat." For a moment, no one spoke. The crew was silent, as if they couldn't believe what they were hearing. The green-skinned commander, the one who had led the aliens to this war, was admitting defeat. Captain Harris stepped forward, his expression calm but firm. "You came here to destroy us. You underestimated us. And now you see what happens when you push humanity too far." The commander nodded, his shoulders slumping in surrender. "I know. We thought we were the strongest. We thought nothing could stop us. But you fought with something we didn't expect, something more powerful than all our weapons. Your will to survive, your unity. It broke us." Captain Harris felt a flicker of satisfaction, but he didn't let it show. He had fought for this moment, but there was still a job to do. "What happens now?" he asked. The commander paused before answering. "Now, we leave. We will return to our homeworlds, and we will never come back. We have learned our lesson. We have nothing left to fight for. The war is over, for us." The captain nodded. "Then go, and never return. You've seen what humanity is capable of. If you ever come back, it won't be a fight. It will be your end." The green-skinned commander's eyes met Captain Harris one last time, and there was a flicker of understanding. Then, without another word, the screen went dark. The crew of the human ship let out a collective breath. The alien threat was over. The battle had been long and hard, but it was finally won. The aliens were retreating, defeated and broken. The humans had shown them that no matter how powerful an enemy might seem, they could always be beaten. "Mission accomplished," Lieutenant Adams said quietly, his voice full of awe. Captain Harris turned to face his crew, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. "We did it. Humanity did it." The crew cheered, their exhaustion forgotten in the thrill of victory. They had faced the impossible, and they had won. The humans had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. They had proven that no matter how many enemies they faced, they would never back down. The alien ships were drifting, powerless, and the human ship was still standing strong. The victory was theirs, and the galaxy would never forget the lesson the aliens had learned. Never underestimate the power of humanity.